Hi, I'm Devin Lockett, and this is BiomedRx TV. All right, good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? Happy New Year, or Happy New Year's Eve. Here we are on this eve of the year 2021. So today's a free-for-all. I want everybody to just call in with whatever's on your mind. You see the number up here, 424-204-2382 in the United States. We're just going to talk about New Year's resolutions and what people have planned for the new year, how we're going to take care of our health, how we're going to make money, accumulate wealth, and how we're going to handle this year coming up a little bit better than we did the last year. So thank you for joining, everybody, joining me in chat. I appreciate it. Thanks to everyone joining me on Facebook as well. All right. Hi, Abraham. How's it going? Happy New Year's Eve. Thanks for joining. I hope you guys like the new background and my new sounds. If there's anything you want me to talk about, feel free to mention it in chat. I appreciate you joining us. Let me do a quick sound check. Quick sound check. Oh, that's perfect. Microphone is nice and loud and strong. Oh, cool. Now we see that the police are patrolling the parking lot, keeping my building safe during this holiday. But they can see by my decal on my car that I am here. Thank you. Yeah, I like this psychedelic, It reminds me, to keep my mind going, to have bright ideas. I did a video the other day about the results of neurofeedback training. Okay? Now, I did this on YouTube, but on Facebook, but I'm going to go over everything again right now. Here at the BiomedRx Health Center, we do a number of therapies, that can help promote peak performance in mind and body. So I serve a lot of people who have very demanding careers, a lot of actors, a lot of professional athletes, a lot of cops, I help a lot of military veterans overcome post-traumatic stress disorder. I opened this clinic, of course, to help my son overcome the effects of the conditions, the symptoms known as autism. And we have successfully overcome them. Now we have other challenges to deal with, and we're dealing with them quite effectively. But what I noticed along the way, I also was able to help recover a lot of children with autism. What I noticed along the way is that the therapies that we do, neurofeedback, audiovisual brain entrainment, cranial electrotherapy stimulation, biomagnetic pair therapy, ionic foot detoxification, all of these therapies not only are good for helping children to overcome the effects of autism and autism spectrum disorder, but they are also effective for helping us get the most out of our minds, okay? Most out of our bodies, most out of our brains. What is my New Year's resolution? You know, honestly, I'm going to put it out there. I gave up alcohol. I haven't had a drop of alcohol throughout the year 2020, and I don't miss it. But this year, I think I'm going to try to give up profanity, because they say that a man cusses when his mind can't find the words to express that which his heart is feeling. And I pride myself on being rather articulate and having a nice large vocabulary in many languages. So I should refrain from cussing, because I can refrain from cussing. And if I do refrain from cussing, I can get my message across much more effectively. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to challenge myself in 2021 to stop using profanity and to find, the best way, the most succinct way to express that which my heart is feeling at any particular time. And what I'm explaining here kind of gets us into that, because we start people off. When it comes to brain training, we start our clients off with infra-low neurofeedback. Now, neurofeedback, as you've seen on my other videos here and on the BiomedRx TV channel, neurofeedback is EEG biofeedback. It is an electronic method of restoring the brain to its natural balance. And when we start you with infra-low neurofeedback, we are calming the brain down. We have a reward frequency of 0.001 hertz. And this is actually slower than the circadian rhythm of the planet. This is slower than the rhythm that the planet of the planet's rotation. And it's effectively zero. And by having inhibits across all of the other frequencies, we're able to basically calm the brain down, slow the brain down, and then release it and allow it to regain its own optimal operating frequency. This is very effective for PTSD, autism, ADD, ADHD, anxiety, stress, depression, insomnia, alcoholism, addiction. Pretty much panacea, right? Infra-low neurofeedback is effective at addressing all of these things, because what it does is it gets rid of the knots and kinks that form in our neocortex. It takes away the regulation. It's called dysregulation. We accumulate dysregulation patterns in the neocortex as a result of the intense emotions that we experience in life. The overaccumulation of this dysregulation is what we know as PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Except in normal life, we experience our emotions primarily here in the parietal lobe, okay? And that's where the dysregulatory patterns tend to be. a lot with people who have what we call complex PTSD, which are the people who have suffered abuse on an ongoing basis as children. We have to get that out of the parietal lobe. But the people who come back from war, the soldiers and the Marines and the other airmen and sailors, they tend, after being in wartime, after being suffering a period of hypervigilance, right, where you're not sleeping well at night, or you're walking around, or you're sleeping with one eye open, or eyes behind your back, then they tend to form dysregulatory patterns here in the frontal lobe as well. Okay, because the frontal lobe is in control of executive control and inhibitory control. And so, if you know the person's history, and with experience, you can tell where to train a person and how to train a person to get rid of the dysregulation. Once we get past infralow neurofeedback, once we get past working all of the knots out of the neocortex, then we can go into the more advanced neurofeedback disciplines, and one of those being alpha theta. In alpha theta neurofeedback, there are two reward frequencies. Okay, there are two reward frequencies, and there is no visual feedback. Normally during neurofeedback, you are listening to headphones and watching a screen, and the feedback is coming to you through the screen and to the headphones. Okay, just like if you were reading a book and someone came into the room and flicked the light switch on and off, your pupils would dilate and constrict on their own. You don't tell your eyes to adjust. Your brain is connected directly to the eyes. Just in that same manner, when we place the probes on your scalp, your brain is going to adjust itself in whichever way it has to in order to keep the screen clear. And while we're reading your brain waves with the electroencephalograph amplifier, the software in the computer is actually providing feedback when we detect undesirable brainwave activity. What do we mean by undesirable brainwave activity? We're talking about high energy, stress. You can do the same thinking and get the same thoughts done and do all of the same mental, calculations and everything else without as much energy attached. And when we have all of this energy attached, it causes physical tension. It causes a rise in cortical arousal, and it causes a corresponding rise in physical arousal, which we call tension and stress. Okay? So, once we get past the infralow neurofeedback phase, then we can go into alpha theta. Once we get into alpha theta, like I said before, there are two reward frequencies, one being alpha, which is around 10 hertz, and the other being in theta, which is around 7 hertz. Alpha is the state that we want to be in all the time, awake and relaxed and happy. And theta is the state that we were in when we were children up until the age of 7 or 8 when we formed our critical faculty. And it is the state that we are in when we are in light sleep or rapid eye movement sleep, REM sleep. It's also the state that we are in when we are dreaming. It's also the state that we are in when we are under hypnosis. It's the state where our creativity lies. It is the frequency band where our repressed memories are and our repressed emotions are. Okay? So remember, 90% of your thought is in the subconscious mind, and that's what's really controlling everything, your belief systems. So you're accessing that pool, right? That pool with alpha theta neurofeedback. Now, precautions for alpha theta neurofeedback. Children who are on the autism spectrum tend to be very high in theta. So you don't want to train children with autism in alpha theta excessively. If it happens to be a child who has emotional trauma that has to have been processed, then go ahead, but just understand that you may not be helping the autism spectrum disorder by doing alpha theta. Now, once we get past, also, alpha theta is a choice. Some people go into alpha theta after getting rid of dysregulation through infralow neurofeedback. Some people don't. Now, that brings us to synchrony. There's another discipline of neurofeedback that's called synchrony. In synchrony, the objective is to train the left and right hemispheres of the brain to operate in synchrony with each other. Okay, so what we're doing is we're taking a 2-channel amplifier. We have channel 1 connected to the right, well, one right or left, it depends, right? But we have one channel connected to the right hemisphere of the brain. I usually go front to back, which means frontal lobe to parietal lobe, or frontal lobe to the somatosensory band. I like to train along my somatosensory band, my motor cortex, because that's very good for athletic peak performance. At any rate, you want to always train the frontal lobe, okay? Because that's the business. That's where the business is. And if you're a procrastinator, if you suffer from procrastination, you might want to consider training up here, F3, F4, okay? This area in the back to area of the frontal lobe, still in the frontal lobe. But I digress. So, when I'm doing synchrony neurofeedback, okay, when you're doing synchrony neurofeedback, you have the entire range of frequencies of brainwave activity that you can train on, okay? So now we're doing a process called finding the ORF, finding the optimal reward frequency. Okay, the original theory behind neurofeedback was to train everyone for alpha, and that was a one-size-fits-most approach, which is probably why neurofeedback didn't get the respect that it should have gotten from the Food and Drug Administration. But that's a long story, and I don't want to get into the politics of that right now. But when you are training, you can train in delta, 0 to 5 hertz. That's when you're sleeping or in deep sleep. You can train in theta, around 7 hertz. You can train in alpha. Most people train somewhere around the alpha zone to try to find their own particular yummy frequency, which is the frequency within which they find the most happiness. And that's very good. Once you find your yummy frequency, we can synchronize you with your lover or your wife, or your husband or your significant other. Going beyond that, we get into beta. Beta is around 20 hertz, and the beta frequency zone is what you experience when you're, like right now, you're listening to me. Like, I hope if you're listening to what I'm saying intently, then you would be in a state of beta. Your brain would be functioning primarily around 20 hertz. If you are focusing so intensely that you could solve a math problem, then you would be functioning at around 25 hertz, which is the high beta range. Okay? Now, 30 hertz and above is called gamma. There's something very interesting about the gamma zone, okay, the gamma range. Although it's a very high frequency, there is a, let me back up a little bit. With every frequency, from delta to theta to alpha to beta to high beta, there is a corresponding rise in physical tension with the rise in cortical arousal that comes as a result of training on increasingly higher frequencies, with the exception of gamma. For some reason, which is to say, if I train you at 0 to 5 hertz and delta, you're going to go to sleep. I can put you to sleep. If I train you around theta, 7 hertz, you're going to be in the either theta zone or the alpha theta zone. The same with alpha. If I train you in beta, you're going to be awake and alert, and you're probably going to do well if you had to take the SAT or the LSAT or a very trying exam, right, after training in beta. Or if you wanted to train at 25 hertz, right, to go and take a long test or do something that you knew was going to be intellectually demanding, that is something that I can do for you. However, at the end of the day, you're going to probably want a glass of wine or something to relax, because you're going to be feeling the corresponding physical tension that comes along with having the brain that excited, operating at that level. However, when we reach the theta zone, when we reach the gamma frequency zone, 30, 40, and above, the body goes more relaxed while the brain goes and moves in a higher frequency. So the brain is moving ultra fast and the body goes into a state of deep relaxation. This is the state that monks and experienced meditators reach after years and years of meditation. I invite you to YouTube Synchrony Neurofeedback, and probably the first video that's going to come up is going to be my instructors, Sue and Siegfried Othmer, mostly Sue, at the EEG Institute, performing synchrony neurofeedback on a Buddhist monk. And he was a lifelong meditator, and he gave very interesting feedback, very interesting testimonial as to the effects of training synchrony, first in the alpha state at 10 hertz, and then the following day in the gamma state in 40 hertz. Now, training up in gamma, unless you are an experienced meditator or unless you know for a fact that you have processed your crap and gotten rid of your dysregulation, okay? People who are still heavily dysregulated, people who have heavily dysregulated neocortex should not mess around with higher frequencies. It's not advisable. It's not advisable that you use higher frequencies in neurofeedback. What you should do is you should focus on getting rid of the dysregulation using infralow neurofeedback. Okay? However, once you're prepared and once you're ready for gamma training, you should understand that the brain is very sensitive. Okay? When you are training for too high of a reward frequency, you're going to feel a skin crawling sensation. Okay? It's not too comfortable. That's a sign that you should not train too high. If you train too high, then you may give yourself constipation, irritability. It's just not a pleasant experience. However, you can also break through those zones if you commit yourself to peak performance training, and you can actually cause a shift. We have an expression in neuroscience, shift happens, because shift does happen. And the more you train your brain in close interval, right? I train every day. I train sometimes twice a day. In close interval, you will be able to raise your reward frequency and actually raise your own vibration. And that's what I've been working on for the past year. So I'm proud to say, here it is, December 31st, And I have been working last year, 2019, I incrementally worked myself up to 50 hertz. If you use the slider on Signet software, you can only go up to 40 hertz. But if you click the arrow, you can inch up even higher. It's kind of a crack on the software, and you can train up to 50 hertz. And I've been doing that. I've been training at Synchrony neurofeedback at 50 hertz. Thank you, Abraham. Sorry. Yes, at 50 hertz, you will definitely raise your vibration. If you continue to train, but trust me, you have to go up in, 0.25 hertz at a time. So it's going to take a month, 4 weeks, right, to go up 1 hertz, to be honest with you. You're going to have to give your brain a chance to adjust to the higher frequency before you move up. And you're going to have to fight any urges you'll have to be reactionary or to be irritable, because that's something that your brain is calibrating itself to another frequency, right? So it's something that you have to do. But trust me, the changes are permanent. What's happening is what we call neurodendritic plasticity. Neurodendritic plasticity. So you can consider your neuron, right? Your brain and your entire nervous system is comprised of neurons. You can consider a neuron like my hand here, right? Right? The axiom, the head, and the dendrites, okay? So the dendrites are like branches. If you observe branches, sometimes branches can grow from branches, right? Branches will grow out of a branch, right? Branches will grow out of branches, and then other branches will grow out of those. And that's plasticity. Your dendrites are the same way. This is why people are able to compensate for losses of even brain matter and relearn things that they, that they knew and then lost the ability to do after a traumatic brain injury or an assault to the brain. So this happens, and we're just now realizing that, yes, it does slow down at the age of 25, but it never stops. It doesn't stop. You're constantly able to generate more dendrites. You're constantly able to generate more brain cells. So what you have to do is keep your brain healthy. You have to eat haritaki to cleanse the brain. Take haritaki to cleanse the brain and also to cleanse the pineal gland. And definitely get enough sleep. Sleep cleanses the brain. Do not underestimate the value of getting 8-9 hours of sleep as often as you can. Make sure your body is well hydrated. Stay away from drugs and alcohol. Stop using fluoride toothpaste. Fluoride is calcifying your pineal gland. Your pineal gland is a great source for serotonin. So serotonin is your self-esteem and your happiness drug and your sleep drug, endorphin. It also helps you to recognize other people's emotions by their facial expressions. So, without serotonin, when you get into a conflict, your frontal lobe is already robbed immediately of serotonin. So you don't want to go into fight or flight and not be able to connect with people because you're serotonin starved. So this brings us back to training my brain at 50 hertz. Throughout the year 2018, I worked myself up. 2019 up to 50 hertz, and in 2020 I worked consistently at 50 hertz, and this is what the results look like today. Okay, these are my neurofeedback test results. As you can see, it was just a couple of days ago, right, the 29th, and I can explain what you're seeing here. On the top are all of my waves. I'm going to bring it closer so you can see. Delta is in red, theta is in purple, purple, alpha is in turquoise, beta 20 hertz, right, is in yellow, and high beta is in black. All right. Now, the objective on the top chart is to scrunch everything down. So that's basically what you want to do there, because I was training in gamma, and none of those lines correspond to gamma. Okay. So they're really all inhibit, show the result of inhibit training. And the bottom graph, as you can see, is spikes. Each time you see one of those upward ticks or one of those spikes, that is a moment in time when both hemispheres of my brain were operating in synchrony with each other at the target frequency, which, as you can see on the top of this chart, is 50 hertz. Okay, so I was using a reward frequency of 50 hertz, and every time you see the spike, there you go, perfectly clear. That's a reward frequency of 50 hertz, and every time you see the spike, my left and right hemisphere were in sync with each other at 50 hertz. That's a good, if you are familiar with neurofeedback or neurofeedback therapy, then that is what you would consider a good chart. Now, I'm going to see if I can get my camera to readjust, because whenever I go really close on this camera, it doesn't seem to want to refocus back far away. So let me see. Maybe I can get it sharp and then back out a little. And then back out a little. And then back out a little. Yeah, there you go. Walking it back. And now I'm in focus again. Isn't that beautiful? So, yeah, call in if you want, 424-204-2382. As you can see, the number is right here above. And it's a free-for-all. Yes, addiction is terrible, man. Addiction is terrible because we have that chemical attachment to the substance, which brings us to another technology. Ionic foot bath. I keep my ionic foot bath machine right here on my desk. I don't want to move the camera and risk it coming unfocused again. But I plug in this. This is the wristband, and as you can see, there's a little burn marks here on my arm because I use this machine for very, very long periods of time, extended periods of time. It works on the same principle as hemodialysis, and that you have your feet immersed in water. We put a coil into the water, and I believe I have a coil around here somewhere. Here you go. You immerse a coil like this into the water, okay, and you apply a negative charge to the coil, or you can have an alternating charge that goes negative and then positive and negative again, but you apply a negative charge to the coil, and the negative charge draws out toxins, positively charged toxins, out of your body through your feet through a process called cation exchange. And cation exchange. And this is a very, very effective process for detoxifying the body. It also helps you think very clearly. It helps keep the mind very, very clear. It'll help heal fatty liver. It'll help heal chronic pancreatitis. I know that from my own personal anecdotal experience. It's very, very good. In fact, when I finish this video, I'm going to set myself up for another marathon session. The thing about it is a therapy that I offer here at the BiomedRx Health Center, but for the cost of 2 sessions, you would have paid for the machine. So I recommend going to eBay and buying yourself an ionic foot bath machine, very cheap one. You don't have to, spend a lot of money on it because the technology is not very complex. So one machine is not really any, higher quality than the next. They're all really good quality machines. No need to really get fancy. Spend $80 or $100, get yourself one, but do it every day. Ionize yourself every day and try to focus on the sessions that are going negative, okay? Where the charge that is applying to the water is in a negative direction. You want that because you want to fill your body with negative ions. You want to recharge your red blood cells to their negative charge. You want those red blood cells to be bouncing against each other. You want them to be repelling each other. You don't want them sticking together. You want to free up your circulation, free up the circulation of your blood, and you want to alkalinize yourself. Alkalinize not only your blood, but the entire milieu of your body. The water inside your body, the blood, and everything inside your body. You want to alkalinize, okay? So, get yourself an ionic foot detoxification machine. Buy yourself some bentonite clay. Bathe in bentonite clay. Give yourself bentonite clay baths as frequently as possible to purge your body of the heavy metal toxins that are inside your body. Okay. Drink haritaki, right? Kadukai podi. Also try a little turmeric to reduce inflammation. And drink a lot of water. Take your health into your own hands, And, this is the result. I mean, what you'll see is the result of peak performance training over a long period of time. So if you're here in Southern California, contact me. If you're interested in getting some peak performance training, by all means, look me up. I mean, I'm right here. Of course, I appreciate you joining.
Billions and billions and billions and billions and...
Oh, they hung up before I could answer. Looks like someone was trying to go live. How's everyone doing today? Feel free to call in 424-204-2382. All right.
Billions and billions and billions and billions and...
BiomedRx may help you.
Hey,
Hey, Abraham, how's it going? Let me put you on speaker. How's it going, man?
it's doing good, doing good.
All right. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I had some, basically, I'm not on YouTube, am I? Are you live right now?
Yeah. Do you not want to be live?
Oh, no, it's fine. No, that's
okay.
fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. No, that's fine. No, the reason I was calling in, I just had a few minutes while I was getting into work. But I wanted to basically say that I use biomagnetism, and I've seen a lot of good things with it. And I don't know a whole lot. I got a book about it, but I haven't, had a lot of since COVID came. I haven't had a lot of practice.
Now, how do you use biomagnetism? What technique do you use?
The book I had got was from Dr. Garcia, and it's just, but I mean, like I've seen a lot of great things with like with the injuries, like I like I injured my ankle about a month ago, and I took the black magnet and put it on the injury. I mean, it was terrible pain, and I thought I broke it. And put the red magnet on my kidney on the same side, and I'm talking about the pain went away within 20 minutes.
Yes, the black magnet, the negative, the North Pole, is going to increase circulation, is going to increase the pH, it's going to raise the pH level, and it's going to increase relaxation. It's perfect for healing wounds. It's also good for reducing abscesses. If you have like a big pimple or a big boil, you'd be surprised, man. You can back right out of that with that thing. Yeah, the negative is right. And yes, the kidney is also a good place to balance it for the positive magnet, because it's very it's got a lot of fascia. It's all tissue, right? And because of the electrical function of our kidneys, because of the pyramids inside the kidneys, right? That's what actually empowers them to clean up clean up the toxins, take the toxins out.
Now, the one question I had is now, can you do it? Can I do the, I actually have the book, it actually shows all the pairs, the 300 pairs, and I know I know you've said that every practitioner is different. Now, could I do that too often? That is my question. I haven't had a lot of people to practice with because COVID came, and I just kind of use it with my brother like it worked. My brother had a toe he hurt it, and it worked the same way. I'm talking about within 30 minutes.
Perfect.
Bothered him for a week or two, and it literally the next day he's like it's better, and I was like, wow, that's just amazing.
That's perfect. What I tend to do is stick with about once a week for biomagnetic pair therapy, about once a week. And because you don't want the body to become too accustomed to the magnetic energy, okay. And and you want to give the body a chance to find its own balance in the absence of the magnets,
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an ebb and flow, and that kind of makes it complicated for me here at BiomedRx, because a lot of people come for biomagnetism and neurofeedback, and then they're like, well, how come I can't do magnets every day, but you're telling me that I should do the neurofeedback sessions in close interval? Well, the body and brain are a little bit different in that regard, because the brain does need to be trained, repetitively in close interval in order to provoke a permanent shift in cognitive function. Whereas the body, no, the body needs to rehydrate, it needs to cleanse itself, and adjust so that the magnets would be more effective later. Now remember, if you're using the negative pole of the magnet by itself, that's magnetic therapy. If you're using the negative with a positive, that's biomagnetic pair therapy. And you should never use the positive pole by itself for anything on the body.
Oh no, I don't. I always use two different. The book it just always Dr. Garcia's book, it always has two different. And I mean, whenever I just find it's so weird how I run into this stuff. How I found you, it just kind of popped up on my. I guess it's where YouTube kind of put it in my thing, and I just found it so interesting. And you had some of the same pairs that he has in that book that I was looking at your other channel that has some of the and you have some of the same pairs to treat. And I do feel like I think clear since I started using them.
Yeah.
And you heard what I said earlier. I used to suffer with what I said in the chat there. I used to suffer with it real bad, and I still I don't take anything for granted. I always say that I take it one day at a time. But it's helped me tremendously. And it really has. And,
thanks, man. That's good to hear. I believe every family should have a good set of magnets, and at least one person in the family who knows the basic places, the basic pairs on where to use them to address the illnesses that attack the normal family, Now,
the one last question, because I don't have a whole lot. I got to get ready for work here in a minute. The one last question I wanted, the book is real helpful that I have, but what parts of the body should I I pretty much know where to set the magnets for, like the liver. I got a pretty good idea. For the, what parts of the body should I concentrate on? Just because it's hard to check myself. While I'm, I hear some people try to say, yeah, you can it seems it's kind of the hit. I can ask I can muscle test myself and say, is my name Bob, and it'll come up a yes with my thumbs.
Right.
For viruses and stuff, I can't do it. It seems like it always says yes.
Yeah, it's hard to muscle test yourself. It really is.
Right.
I honestly, man, no matter how long I do this, I can't wait until I'm in some convention or somewhere, or class or somewhere where I'm with other experienced biomagnetic pair therapists, where we can do a scan on each other, and I'll take those pairs away and do those on myself, until I can get another good scan. But have you had any particular health issues before?
Oh, I've had all kinds. I mean, I've had, I don't know. I've mainly just been mean to myself, and I was well overweight, and I lost a lot of weight. And like I said, I had problems with for a long time, and I finally conquered those. And it's just I had some liver. I'm sure I've got some fatty liver. I'm sure I've got some. I probably still have fatty liver. My main problem now is trying to control my eating, but I am exercising every day and like that. But yeah, I've got some liver issues, I'm pretty sure. But last liver check I had, they said everything was, okay. But, as far as trusting the medical community, I'm not much on,
yeah,
regular medicine, because they always want to throw drugs at you.
Absolutely.
Well, I used to have a pile of pills, and I don't anymore, thank God.
Okay, well, if you can see me now on the video, stick to the liver. You know where the liver pairs are, right? On the right-hand side. Also, stick if you have a history of alcohol consumption, do your pancreas. One right above the navel, the negative for the body of the pancreas, right above your navel, and to your left of that is where you want to put the positive. That's going to be on the tail of the pancreas, right? The negative on the body of the pancreas, left on the positive on the tail of the pancreas. You definitely want to stimulate the pancreas if you've been drinking alcohol. And if you have had any smoking in the past, I would put a negative under your right clavicle, right here, subclavicle, right under the collarbone, okay, and then positive on the other side, all right, and just lie down with those two, because what that's doing is it's affecting the circulation that affects your throat. So you want to make sure that you don't, have any throat cancer coming up or anything that's an effect from having smoked,
Right.
Yeah.
No, I've been luckily I haven't had anything like that for a long time. But like I said, it lingers for a long time. It can linger for a long time. But no, I just wanted to call in and say, what you say is, it's totally. I mean, and I'm not real familiar about I'm neurofeedback and stuff. I find it so interesting. And
thank you.
My hope is I want to help other people. That is my hope, and that's what I'm hoping to do at some point in time.
Thank you.
I just know that, and it's just, like I said, I love the work you do there. I've always wanted to call in. I called in a minute ago, and I was like, well, I don't really have time. And I saw you got the call, and I was like, well, I'm going to go ahead and call in and wish him a happy new year. And,
thank you. I appreciate it, man. And you and your family also have a happy and prosperous new year. Helping people, honestly, is the most gratifying aspect of my career. It really is. I can make a deal and make big bucks, or I can get a big sale of CBD and be like, oh wow, look at this, somebody bought a whole thousands of dollars, and then walk away. But one person can look me in the eyes and say, thank you that you've helped me, right? Or I don't have cancer anymore, or to see that reaction in a person, man, it puts you face to face with God, and it puts you face to face with purpose, right? With a sense of purpose on earth. That, yeah, it would be great if it translated into big bucks all the time, but you know what? It has nothing to do with money. It really doesn't. It really has nothing to do with money. It's so rewarding, and I think what makes me especially blessed in this particular position is that I'm showing my son. My son just turned 14 yesterday. Yeah. Yes, and I'm teaching him the art, right? I'm teaching him the art of loving and being a loving person, and at the same time standing up for himself and being an independent person, you know. And you know what you're saying is, it really warms my heart, man. I really appreciate you calling and saying that, because you're confirming to me, man, right here on the last day of the year, that it's worthwhile, that I'm on the right track and I'm doing the right thing, man. I appreciate it.
And one other thing, and I might stay on it for a minute longer, because I mean I really enjoy talking to you. I'll tell you what is, you know, we're all on a spiritual journey, and I'm not real. You know, my daddy was a preacher. Now I'm not real religious, but I have what I believe is, you know, there's nothing wrong with religion. I'm just trying to say that, you know, I believe that, you know, Jesus said that, you know, I believe Jesus wanted us to believe in ourselves. Not, you know, it's okay to believe in Jesus. I'm just saying we have to believe in ourselves too.
Yeah.
You know, we can only be happy if we want to be happy. You know, we can't depend on something else outside of us to be happy.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I've learned that through, you know, just here recently, you know, and through my battles. And, you know, it's all, you know, if you're going to wake up on the wrong side of the bed every day, you're going to wake up on the wrong side every day. You know, I believe we all can be healers. And I mean, and you, like I said, your work is real. And I believe me, I know, it's like my mom hurt her hand. Same thing happened with her hand. I put the magnets on. She was like, wow. Now, she's kind of older, and, you know, she just wants to think, you know, that, you know, the magnets might not have had, you know, she's just one of these older people that,
yeah.
You know, even though it helped her, she would not say that in front of somebody else, because she feels like, you know, because it goes against the narrative.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, and I tell people, I've told my other people in my family about, yeah, I'm studying biomedical, and they look at me like I've lost my mind. And I was like, I know it sounds like craziness, but it works. You just have to try it. And,
yeah. Well, you know, in Spain, they actually included biomagnetic paratherapy in medical school. The doctors in Spain, yeah, and the University of Madrid, they're studying biomagnetic paratherapy.
And I know it's real. You know, Dr. Gomez and Dr. Garcia, if I'm not mistaken, you know, I've never had a class or anything, and that's one reason can any harm? I know you said using you know, can there be any harm with the bionetic pair? Just using the bionetic pairs, can there be harm with that? And that's the one last question I have before I have to go get ready for work.
Well, okay, if the person does not drink enough water, they will feel worse. They will feel worse than if they had not messed with magnets at all. And that's a hard thing, because, you know, everybody says, yeah. When you tell them drink a lot of water, they go, yeah. And then they go home and they don't. And then they go, oh, well, I felt cramps at night, and I did this and I did that. Yeah, because you gave yourself a Herxheimer's, you triggered a rapid detoxification, and you didn't give the body enough water with which to flush itself. And that's, you know, that could be harmful. Also, using the positive magnet where you're not supposed to, that can be harmful. Yeah, I mean, if you don't really know what you're doing, and then using the positive magnet by itself is not recommended.
Right. No, I don't ever do that. I always just use them in pairs. Like I feel like one that, you know, taking one of the pairs in his book, it's put one right there where you check your pulse, you know, put the black on there right there and put the red right there. It seems to help with my blood pressure some.
Yes, it does. And also, you know what? If you have a good strong black and red, put one under either foot and lie down, right on the instep of your foot.
Oh, I've got a huge one. It almost covers my whole foot. I bought it was on Amazon. They claimed it was from, I forget the name of the company. I can't think of it right offhand.
Nice.
But yeah, they're really good. They're really, you know, they're a little bit thin, but they're still they're pretty strong, I think.
Yeah. Well, put the positive on one foot and the negative on the other, and lie down and tell me how you feel. You'll feel great.
Now, basically, it's the way it works is the black usually goes on the right side and the red goes on the left, correct? Or am I wrong about that? Yeah,
that's kind of a loose rule of thumb, but it's not written in stone. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, that's.
Well, I mean, that's like Dr. Garcia says. He says to, you know, I'm not real familiar with whatever it is, muscle test to see which one is which. And like I said, I haven't took a class or anything, so I'm not real well at doing that. So.
Yeah. Great, man. Well, thanks, man. Thanks for calling. I really appreciate the call.
And Devin, just I want you to have a happy New Year. Keep doing what you do, and hopefully I'll catch you live again. And I'll call in next time. And,
thanks a lot.
God bless you, and keep doing the good work and keep healing people. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir. God bless you and your family as well. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Take care. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Thank you. That's Abraham in Tennessee. Thanks for calling, man. I really appreciate it. And you can always call in, as you can see, call in above right now, 424-204-2382. I'm also going to be going live on BiomedRx TV pretty soon. My other channel, BiomedRx TV. In fact, perhaps I can type it in here so that you guys can see it. So make a commitment this year. You know, now I've made it public. I'm going to try to stop cussing. That is going to be a challenge for moi. But I shall do it anyway. I shall try. Let's see if we can get my son, Kai Lockett, on the phone. Maybe I can, yesterday was his 14th birthday, so perhaps I can get him to come on and say a little something.
Please leave your message for
Uh-oh.
9.
Yeah, that's right. He got a new phone, so he may have to set it up again. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining once again. I'm just checking out a few things. I'm going to share my BiomedRx TV channel here. Thought I had it up here already. Here we go. So I want you guys to join me when you get a chance here on BiomedRx TV.